All right, another recent purchase. This is the Battle of Saratoga, which was kind of something I was very much interested in seeing a battle for. Managed to pick up both it and Monmouth at an auction online. And what's interesting for me about this, not only that it has Benedict Arnold in one of his glorious roles, but the battle is entirely fought in woods, pretty much. I mean, the main point of focal interest isn't, of course, Freeman's Farm. Burgoyne is involved in the three-piece assault to divide the colonies. Now, his units, as far as I can tell, the rules are kind of iffy here. I say that a lot, but in terms of deployment, either these guys just don't exist, which doesn't seem to be the case, or they're the first turn reinforcements and they're showing up not like off map. Distinguishing what is meant in this game is odd. What's cool about the system, among other things, first of all, there aren't a lot of revolutionary tactical systems available, but the army morale seems to be a key issue in the game. It also uses tactical chits, which is kind of weird for close range choices when units are engaged in close combat, because the scale is actually, I think it's 200 yards per hex, which is pretty normal for Civil War era, but the guns don't reach that far. So there's a lot of room for maneuver, etc. Losing my train of thought. It also has rules for momentum, which I think are cool. If you do well in battle situations, you end up getting a chit, which you can expend to improve, to let you re-roll die rolls, or to improve die rolls in some cases for initiative. It's all very cool. So the situation itself, the British come up against, and there's no real reason that they had to march on this side of the river. They come up against Gates's army with Arnold holding one wing, and decide to launch an attack on this day. Gates is holding some pretty impressive defensive terrain, but Arnold is suggesting a preemptory strike, and they sort of come to a deal. Gates will hold the terrain, and Arnold can go off and get himself killed. Historically, the battle was actually a draw, more or less, although strategically, the British were still on the wrong side of the river, essentially, because the Americans were facing them. And Burgoyne, the British general, eventually had to, he conducted one more assault, I believe, and then withdrew back to Saratoga and surrendered his forces. There's options for a second day of battle, but they're written as though it's a complete new game, not a follow-through of the previous scenario. And the second day never actually happened. So I'm kind of ambivalent as to whether or not I'm going to play with them. We'll see. One really nice thing that makes me happy is the huge hexes. If you're going to put big counters in a game, big hexes are awesome. Otherwise, things just get too crowded. After two turns, first turn was fog, second turn, not dense fog, but was clear. The British split up their forces. The Americans don't get to move. Moving the main column down towards the river, planning on splitting that further. Some additional German troops heading that way. Burgoyne's taking a detachment to fly out and charge across the river here. Their intention is to do a three-pronged attack, like all three-pronged attacks, on the farm area. I'll probably hold off a couple of turns until we're close there. 1 p.m. at Saratoga, and the forces still haven't engaged. We got Arnold beginning to deploy near the farm. British column kind of out of the way. And then the combined British and German columns heading down from the river. 2 p.m. The game's half over and we still haven't fired a shot. Well, we see it getting close though, right? Halfway through the 2 p.m. turn and things are going absolutely splendidly for the Brits. They managed an outflank, drawing the chit and getting an advantage over here, and hit a Continental unit. Their Jaegers didn't manage to, well, they managed to do a casualty to the Americans, but more importantly, they managed to wound or kill or something Arnold, which is huge, and they took a loss over here, but another victory here with a frontal assault against the attempt to withdraw. So they have 3 momentum chits because of bonus good rolls, and currently morale is quite low for the Americans.